And so we return once more with Keitai Denjuu Telefang in this marathon to hopefully finish the game. Now I start out by heading into this door. This guy feels terrible about watching porn. No, he doesn't. So we basically bother him until he decides to tell us what is actually going on. Or what the hell is going on. So he removed the seal from the mountain. And, well, it was supposed to hide a devil inside, and, well, now it's free. Now why the heck would he do that? Well, someone asked him to do it, and he was offered a machine for doing so. And the man who did it, was he wearing a suit and looking strange? Well, apparently he is. Sanabe again. So, because he's an idiot, we now have to take down a devil. Doesn't this story just escalate quickly? Well, that's how it goes, I guess. This dungeon is tedious, and I hate it. It's actually my third most hated dungeon. And I believe there's only this dungeon and 2 more left until we're done with the game, actually. But you start out by grinding. I grinded till I was level 47, since that's the lowest level of random encounters. I suggest getting a higher level if you attempt this, but all the power to you if you don't want to. But just know this, it's difficult. Now it doesn't matter which path you take, you still have to do 2 battles either way. Now, the duo here, Ragarin and Rasen, is the best to choose in my opinion. Rasen was originally called Tessen, and it's a speed devil. It can deal out decent damage from time to time, but when it comes to speed, it'll get a few hits in each time, before anyone else attacks. Ragarin was called Raigaleon. It has high attack, but it fails in the defense department. I'm not sure how good it is in speed either, but it's okay, I guess. Rigoden was originally called Raygoten. As you can see, Rasen absolutely destroys him, since he's super effective towards him. Now there will be a lot of battles here there will be a few that are mandatory, including 2 very insane battles. Like, they're tougher than the boss battle itself. Or at least the boss battle in this dungeon, so you're just going to be ready for that. But either way, we take down the first guy. And we get Obana. And shit, remember it. It keeps being a recurring theme these days. Now for the second guy. Kameran was called Chamelan. I have nothing to add. Well, if you were a higher level with Crypto Burn, you can pretty much take it down in 1 hit. But the one thing you want to pay attention here, if you're using Rasen, is to use it to attack Gipusofi. Simply because he is super effective towards him, and you can pretty much avoid the paralytic needles early on. One thing I wasn't aware of here was that Raigar is super effective towards Doria, so you can also take advantage of that. And he just failed to defend himself. Must be the drill in his forehead that's causing it. But nonetheless, both Gipusofi and Kameran has Flage, or Flash, I don't know what it's called. If they use it, you're unable to deal any damage to them. But as long as they're under that effect, they cannot attack either. But most of the time when it wears off, they get an attack, so yeah, it's not the most effective one. Now, not that I really wanted to, but this was just to save time by choosing Denma attack. It can also deal a decent amount of damage, but I decided to do this in a speedrunning matter. Especially the reason why I'm only 47, or level 47. Keitai is pretty much doomed now, no matter what it does. Rasen will be the first one to deal a Denma attack, and then it would still die either way, so it was pretty much nothing it could do. So that's the second guy, but there are still mandatory battles ahead, so... But you don't have to fight anyone you don't want to fight, at least if you can skip it. If you want the experience, you can do so, but just be prepared that they have 3 monsters, and so you should counter with that as well. Moving down here, and another mandatory battle. Now this guy has 2 Garons. I wasn't too lucky here, but otherwise Crypto Burn can take them out in one hit, even if he's at level 44 or 45. That's at least what happened the first time. So this one is just luck based as to how fast it goes, but there should be no chance for you to fail it. Now, one thing you will see later on is that I'm actually very unlucky with Rasen's personality. I'm basically dependent on its musical attack. Basically, it'll lower any attack of any monster. Usually they'll recover rather quickly, but if you can get 2 off in a row, it will last a little longer and actually have effect. But the thing you need to be aware of is, if they have that personality, or the personality Rasen now has, it will just attack constantly. And I'm not sure about the probability of it, but I think you have a 33% chance of you choosing the attack. Otherwise it will just attack on its own. Well, we're certainly dragging out this battle. Now, what I was originally hoping for here was that Cryptoburn would get his attack, and so he could take down the Giron that was charging its E-magic. But, yeah, no such luck. And so you will see something that may or may not surprise you. So does this now mean that Denma attacks are powerful, even though it deals so much damage towards someone who isn't even effective towards it? Well, to understand why, it's because Garon has high Denma attack, and at the same time Cryptoburn has very low Denma defense. So that is basically the way it works. Pretty much. Now, once you get out of the first dungeon, you move to the left, and then you go into this dungeon. If you choose wrong, you'll just end up in the first original dungeon. Biburnum, who was called Gamazumi, or Gamazumi. Not really worth it. Or at least, it gets a lot of attacks in, but attack-wise, it's not very strong. So you push this button, and it's quicker to just fall down there, and then you'll end up at the other side of the room. Frame-saving foundation, as they say at AGDQ, or they did in 2012 at least. Another innovation, something like that. And if you fall down, it's back to the... Well, you have to push the button again and then try to make do. Or maybe it puts you back at the beginning. I don't exactly remember. And if you head down there, you will find treasure, but none of it is useful. skipping another battle. Now this battle is actually tougher at this point I've chosen. It's tougher than the boss battle. Or the final boss of this dungeon at least. I don't know how you would call it. So... forgetting the name, Gyurus. You have to fight 2 of them and they're both level 60. My first idea was for Rasen to use his speed to get many attacks in. But with such a result. So, what I was lucky with here was that Gyurus didn't choose his normal attacks, but instead chose a Denma attack. But what I can tell you is this, you want to kill him before he gets any attack in, or at least the first one. Otherwise you're just screwed. This was actually my second take. The first take I tried Raygar, and my opponent got critical hit on Raygar, killing him in 1 hit. Then I missed my attack. Then he hit me, doing more than half, killing off more than half my health. And then he killed me. But taking no damage against the first guy is very important, at least I'd say so. Lucky for me, I could potentially have taken him out by myself, but I could have risked a very unlucky damage range. Now my reason for Godetia was paralytic needles, but yeah, with such a result. I got lucky with a critical hit and I made it through, so I'm not really going to complain about that result. So they were originally there to avoid the devil's escape, or so I would say. But yeah, they really didn't want to let anyone through, and now we get to go through. Okay, you head down to the left here again. Going to the right will just send you back to the previous dungeon. Previous floor. Level, whatever. Kukuma was called Curcuma. Now, I'm only showing this because, well, there's 2 reasons. You don't necessarily need a critical hit to kill it. Crypto Burn can do it either way. And we got level 38 too. It has no evolutions and it's fairly weak, so... not that you want to use it in battle, but... if you want to grind against anyone, you want to hope for him. But I don't know about the encounter rate on that one. So there's a few mandatory battles before we reach the end of this dungeon. This is the first one. Arfages was called, well, Arfages. The best way to take him out is just attack. You really shouldn't bother with whether or not you're super effective against him or whatever. So you should pretty much just move through as quick as possible. And well, he's pretty pathetic too, so just take the time that you need and you're, well, done with him. A lot of shit to remember. Now at this point you have to move downwards, otherwise you'll just end up back in the original dungeon and you'll be wondering, where the heck did I go wrong? Okay, so we head through here. And then this is the last of the mandatory battles. Skirpeal, called Scorpil. While it doesn't have high defense and HP, it still happens to be a very annoying monster. I actually thought it would have one of the highest, but at least base defense stats, but no, it doesn't. This is just pathetic. And defend will have all my damage, so that's not good at all. So the best way I got around this is just using toxic gas. It'll deal maybe 5 extra damage, but it's better than dealing just 1 damage. And of course we failed 1 attack. Now the monster itself is potentially one of the weakest we've ever met at this point. Well, it's not very good at surviving on its own at least, so if you meet an opponent that has several monsters and one of those are existent, well, then it's a different tale, I'd say, but on its own it's one of the weakest. Now you will also see here that these stairs aren't marked on the map. That's pathetic, but of course you have to reach those as well. So you enter the first dungeon on the right, it's supposed to say this, and you just have to move forward. Hopefully not getting a random encounter like I did, but just move forward nonetheless. And there's your big threatening devil, a koala. Wow, really? Oh, and he handles this pathetic. I would like you if you go back and rest forever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to do that. So he mentions something called the life tree and then decides, well, it's none of our business, now I'll kill you. Gipusofi was called Gypsophi. While not a strong monster, it can be annoying, but you shouldn't have the biggest problem with it. Now Rasen is not super effective towards him, and you just want to hurt his attack, or at least make him deal less damage. But of course, Rasen has the wrong personality, so he'll constantly want to attack. And at the same time, Gipusofi is, well, putting out Crypto Burn, or at least making it so he can't attack. Now that's very annoying, but there's nothing I can do about that. He'd rather deal 4 damage than decreasing his attack. Ridiculous. But I'm not here to make such a statement. Well, actually I am. I'm only here to rip him apart for doing so. But as you'll see, as you've probably already seen, the burn wears off pretty quickly. And it's not at all there to deal damage if that's what you thought. It's just there to reduce their attack. It's either reduced by 25 or 50%, but I'm not entirely certain at what rate it works at. And there you can see just why I wanted to do that. But Crypto Burn has the final saying in all of this, so he avenged his little friend. You lost. Now tell us about the life tree. And then he decides, okay. The life tree is apparently very powerful, it supports the Monster's world, and if you can control it, you can control other worlds. Oh, and by the way, now I'm going to take over the world, so I'm just going to walk right past you and you're not going to care. Yeah. That's the way it all works. And now we will see a familiar face. You fucking little bastard. And of course his plans are to take over the world. But of course the story will escalate a lot, or into a lot worse. As I'm pretty sure you will actually find out. We want to seal him in my way, but he doesn't care. And then he leaves. And that's not fair, he can walk that many steps, move slower, and not get an encounter. Fucking asshole. So Sunki calls and actually tells us something useful, we now have to head towards this island. That's very helpful because the spot we couldn't enter before is actually where we're supposed to go now. See you next time or soon. Peace out.